A few months ago, people thought Manchester United might actually get relegated. They were awful, losing to Arsenal, humiliated by City, and crushed by Brentford. But now, the same team is suddenly fighting for the Premier League title.
Into the penalty area, comes out to Fernandes, brought down by Casemiro. Casemiro through to Cunha. Cunha!
From chaos to contenders, how did that happen? And why can they win the league? You know, if you've watched Manchester United this season, you'll agree it's been a real mix of highs and lows. At the start, they looked completely lost. No rhythm, no structure, nothing.
Will deliver from the left-hand side, bends it towards goal. Oh, it's in the back of the net.
The 1-0 loss to Arsenal was just the beginning. Then came the 3-0 defeat to Manchester City, where they were completely outplayed. And the 3-1 collapse against Brentford. That one felt like rock bottom. At that point, most fans genuinely thought Amarim's project was falling apart before it even started. But here's the thing. After that Brentford game, something changed. Amarim didn't panic. He didn't tear everything down. Instead, he quietly fixed the fundamentals. And from that moment on, United started to look like a completely different team. They beat Chelsea. They beat Liverpool. And suddenly, the team that couldn't even string 3 passes together was pressing with intensity, defending with control, and playing like they actually believed again. It's not just results, it's the performances. You can see a clear identity forming. Amarim's game plan is finally coming to life, and it all started when he addressed the one thing that was dragging the entire team down, the midfield. At the start of the season, Manchester United's biggest weakness was obvious, the midfield. Every team knew it. There was no control, no protection for the defense, and no real link between midfield and attack. It didn't matter who they played. Once the opposition pressed, United's shape collapsed. Even Fulham's head coach said it openly after their match.
Second half, all the dangerous moments that they had, they come from set pieces, nothing more. We control well the game. With the ball, we don't let them to press ourselves. We found always the midfielders and the spare play in the midfielder area. And we scored a great goal.
He literally mentioned that he knew how to overrun United's midfield. And he wasn't wrong. You could see it play out in games like the one against Manchester City. City didn't just win 3-0. They dominated every second of it. United couldn't get near them. The midfield was constantly chasing shadows, leaving massive gaps behind. It wasn't a question of effort, it was structure. Amarim wanted his team to play brave, attacking football early on, but he quickly realized the Premier League punishes any lack of balance. The midfield was too open, too easy to bypass, and once opponents broke through that area, United's defense had no cover. That's where the shift began. Amarim stopped focusing on perfection and started focusing on control. He understood that before United could dominate with the ball, they had to first stop being dominated without it. And that's exactly where his tactical adjustments began, in that chaotic midfield. It was the same conversation every week. No control, no protection, no rhythm. Every game felt like the opposition had an extra man in midfield. And honestly, they kind of did. Amarim's early setup just didn't work for the Premier League. He wanted his midfield to play brave, progressive football. Casemiro sitting deep, Bruno linking up, and the front line pressing high. On paper, it looked ambitious. In practice, it was chaos. Opponents kept slicing through the middle because the 2 midfielders were too far apart, and the fullbacks were always caught in transition. There was no compactness, no defensive shape. That's when Amarim made the first big change. Instead of scrapping the system entirely, he started tweaking the structure around the midfield. Before we continue with the video, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you. The key adjustment came against Brighton. Historically, that fixture has exposed United more than any other. Brighton's midfield always outnumbers and outmaneuvers them. But this time, Amarim had a plan. He moved Luke Shaw inside during build-up, creating a pseudo 3-man midfield alongside Casemiro and Bruno. It sounds small, but it completely changed United's flow. Shaw's intelligence and composure under pressure allowed Casemiro to sit deeper, protect the defense, and break play up, while Bruno finally had the freedom to push forward and operate in the half spaces where he's most dangerous. And while Shaw tucked in, Diogo Dalot dropped slightly deeper on the opposite side, maintaining the back three shape during possession. That gave United both security and width, something they'd been lacking all season. For the first time, United could control transitions instead of being constantly punished by them. But the real genius came out of possession. Amarim noticed that the 5-2-3 shape left too many gaps in the middle. Opponents could pass straight through United's press. So, he restructured it into more of a 4-4-2 shape when defending. That meant Amad Diallo stayed wider to help track runners, while the two inside forwards, often Mbeumo and Šeško, dropped just enough to congest the midfield. Suddenly, teams couldn't play through the middle anymore. United started forcing them wide, where their wing-backs could engage aggressively and recover possession. Then there's the tactical maturity in transition. Early on, United would try to play their way out from deep, even when under pressure, which led to unnecessary turnovers. Amorim simplified that. He encouraged quick, vertical passes, get it to the front three fast, win the second balls, and build from there. That switch played directly to Bruno's strengths. Now, instead of constantly receiving with his back to goal and being forced into risky passes, he receives facing forward, in space, dictating tempo and making those signature long passes that split defenses apart. Casemiro's role has also evolved. He's no longer tasked with covering half the pitch alone. The rotations between him, Shaw, and Dalot give him the protection he needs to focus on breaking play, not chasing it. That's why he suddenly looks sharper and calmer again, because the system finally supports him instead of exposing him. Even when United attack, the balance is obvious. One fullback tucks in, one pushes high, one midfielder holds, one joins the attack. There's a sense of coordination that wasn't there before. The spaces are compact, the distances between players are tighter, and when United lose the ball, they're recovering it within seconds, something you'd associate with Amarim's sporting days. And it's not just about individuals, it's the collective understanding. Bruno trusts that when he goes forward, someone's behind him. Casemiro knows when to drop or step up. The fullbacks time their movements perfectly. You can see the difference in confidence. They play like a team that finally knows what it's doing. Of course, this isn't a flawless setup. Against elite sides, they'll still need to tweak things, especially when Casemiro's legs can't handle the intensity. But for now, it's the most functional and balanced Manchester United have looked in years. Amarim didn't try to reinvent the wheel, he just gave his players clarity, discipline, and the right structure to thrive. And once the midfield clicked, everything else started to fall into place. The pressing, the transitions, and even the attack. Suddenly, United looked like a team capable of competing again. Since the midfield found balance, everything else has clicked into place. Now, when you watch United, you can see a clear identity, control, aggression, and belief. The difference isn't just tactical, it's psychological. You can feel it in the way they press, the way they defend, and the way they move the ball. It finally looks like a team that knows what it's doing. The first big reason it's working is structure. Amarim has given every player a defined role within a flexible system. The midfield no longer gets dragged out of shape, the defenders stay compact, and the forwards know when to press and when to drop. Everyone understands their position in each phase of play. When United lose the ball, they immediately recover their shape. That sense of organisation makes the team look calmer, even under pressure. The second reason is discipline. Earlier in the season, players were pressing individually, leaving huge gaps behind them. Now, the press happens in waves. When Bruno steps forward, Mbeumo and Šeško close off passing lanes. Casemiro and Shaw hold their ground to protect the spaces in front of the back line. It's coordinated. You can see the thought behind every movement. Amarim's attention to detail is paying off. Third, the possession game has improved massively. United aren't forcing every attack anymore. They're patient. They recycle the ball, wait for openings, and then break with precision. Players like Mainu and Shaw have added calmness in build-up, while Bruno and Garnacho add the spark in the final third. That balance between control and creativity is what was missing before. And then there's confidence. Winning breeds belief, and you can tell this squad finally trusts the process. The backline looks composed, the midfield looks secure, and the attack looks fearless. Even when they go a goal down, there's no panic. They stick to the plan because they know it works. That mentality shift is probably the biggest transformation Amarim has brought. You can also see how fitness and squad rotation have helped. Amarim's not afraid to rest players when needed, even big names. That kept the intensity high. United's pressing and recovery runs look sharper because they're not overworked. The depth is finally being used properly, which is something previous managers struggled with. Overall, it's a blend of structure, trust, and identity. United no longer rely on individual brilliance to get through games. They rely on the system. Everyone's contributing. Every performance feels connected to the next. And that's why people are starting to take them seriously again. It's not hype or emotion, it's actual football logic. Amarim's ideas are translating onto the pitch, and you can see it week after week, and that's why everyone is saying that they could actually win the league. But can they? Well, yes, and honestly, for the first time in years, there's a real argument to say yes. Because when you look closely at the key pieces, the chemistry, the leadership, and the balance, it all points toward a side that's genuinely ready to challenge. One of the biggest reasons for that is the connection between Mbeumo and Ahmad. When Amarim first started using both, people were skeptical. Two right-sided players, both craving the ball, both wanting to dictate play. It looked like a tactical headache. But instead of separating them, Amarim found a way to make them complement each other. Ahmad has embraced the hybrid role perfectly. From a traditional winger, he's evolved into more of an inverted wing-back who offers control, width, and balance. He times his runs intelligently, overlaps when needed, and understands when to tuck in. Mbeumo, meanwhile, has moved centrally, thriving as a modern number 10. He's become that second striker who links everything, receiving between the lines, creating, and finishing. The chemistry between them has become one of United's biggest weapons. You can see their understanding grow with each game. The goal against Liverpool summed it up. Ahmad's outside foot pass, Mbeumo's first-time finish. It wasn't just skill, it was intuition. 6 goal contributions in 10 matches for Mbeumo tells the story. But Ahmad's transformation is just as vital. His defensive work rate and creativity from deep have made United's right flank one of the most balanced in the league. Even if both leave for AFCON, they've already set the standard for what United's attack should look like: sharp, fluid, and fearless. Then there's Matheus Cunha. When he first arrived, fans expected instant fireworks, but it took 8 matches before he finally scored. Still, Amarim saw beyond the numbers. Cunha brings something that doesn't show up in stats: drive, aggression, and unpredictability. His ability to carry the ball in tight spaces, link play, and disrupt defenders has changed how United attack. When he scored against Brighton, you could see how much it meant, not just for him, but for the team. Amarim said it best. He brings something you can't teach. That chaotic energy, that confidence to try the unexpected is exactly what United needed. And now that the goals are starting to come, the entire front line looks more dangerous. With Cunha connecting with Šeško, Mbeumo, and Ahmad, United finally have variety and fluidity in attack. At the back, Matthijs de Ligt's redemption has been just as crucial. After months of criticism, questions about his pace, and doubts over his future, he's completely turned it around under Amarim. A proper pre-season and a defined role have made all the difference. He's now the leader in that back three. organizing, anticipating danger, and winning duels with confidence. He looks sharper and more assured than ever. What stood out most is his composure. He doesn't panic under pressure, and that calm spreads throughout the defense. Amarim trusts him as the anchor, and that trust has restored the defensive structure United lacked. Every successful title-winning team has a foundation at the back, and right now, De Ligt is providing exactly that. And behind him, there's finally a goalkeeper who fits. Lammens has quietly brought stability that United have missed since Van der Sar's days. He's just 23, but he plays like someone who's been doing this for a decade. 3 matches, 3 wins, and some huge saves against Liverpool and Brighton, all without any fuss. His positioning is clean, his handling is reliable, and his decision-making is sharp. Most importantly, the defenders trust him. You can see it in the way they play, calmer, more composed, more confident. Lammens doesn't overcomplicate things, he brings order and assurance. It's a massive difference from what we've seen in recent years. All these pieces, Ahmad and Mbeumo's chemistry, Cunha's energy, De Ligt's leadership, and Lammens' composure, have created something United haven't had in years. Balance. Every part of the pitch now works in harmony with the other. The system makes sense, the players understand their roles, and the team finally feels united, literally and tactically. That's why people are starting to believe again. This isn't just a good run of form, it's a structure that looks sustainable. But to stay in the title race, tactics alone aren't enough. It also comes down to mentality. And that's exactly where Amarim has made his biggest evolution. But what do you think? Can they win the league? Well, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Thank you.